You see, Joe? Yeah. Is there any chance you can shut those lights off back there? We're live. Okay. It's just putting a little bit of a glare on him, but I think we're good. Okay.
Good. Well, thank you everyone for coming. A lot of you I don't know. I know a lot of you, but my name's Joe Scholl, co-founder and first president and current president of the Idaho Historical Racing Society. Little background on how this all started. I kind of grew up at the track on weekends, like this. Grew up on the corner of Eagle and Fairview, back when it was a blinking yellow light. Some of you might know that. So I got into, I helped friends out with racing, and then I started racing a little bit here and there. But the history part of it, I didn't know a lot about the history, so it really piqued my interest. Why is Meridian here? Why aren't we racing in Caldwell? So I learned a lot about the history of the track and groups. And my Uncle Bob started Wyra in the early 70s. I never saw him race, so I wanted to learn about him. So that's kind of how all this started, and there were other people interested. I met Dan Fuller and introduced me to Steve Towery out of Printcraft. And we kind of, 20 some years ago, we decided to start this little club and see where it takes us. So Steve and Stan, they started collecting photo albums from all the racing families, and we figured we better start keeping them. And I don't know how many albums we have now, but we collected a lot. So I quit as president a while back, and then a few years ago, I was asked to see if we could start it as a nonprofit, 501(c). This was shortly after Wyra disbanded. So Adam Nelson told me I'm doing it, so I'm here. So that's why we're all here, and the support has been amazing. Terry would go over the funds and everything, but appreciate everyone here. But I'm just kind of the figurehead. The board is really the ones that are doing everything. So I want to thank Todd, Steve, Stan Fuller, Bill Adams, John Kipcart, Casey Ellis, and this guy. So I'm going to turn it over to Stan, and then Terry and Brent are going to jump in, and we'll get going. So thank you, guys.
The backstory for how we got started was I was at Hawaii Motorcycle Club on Memorial Weekend 2003. They were having their big mini sprint race of the year. They had what I think was called the Shootout. But Gary Solomon was helping his two sons, Colby and Rob, and I was helping my brother. And Gary come up to me and said, "Have you ever heard of Printcraft at Caldwell?" And I said, "No." So it's just down from the College of Idaho. So I've driven by it hundreds of times in my life, being born in Caldwell. But Gary was the one that said, hey Stan, you might be interested in going down to Print Craft because they got about a dozen pictures on the wall down there of Jimmy's car. So the next week I took my scrapbook down there and I met Steve Towry. And Steve was the best thing that we had the last 20 years. He donated the back room of Print Craft. And being a printing business, we would promote, you bring your scrapbooks to Print Craft, you bring your pictures to Print Craft. And Steve, over the last 20 years, made 70 albums. Those are the albums we have in the trailer right now. You've probably heard that 2 years ago, he and his brother retired. I talked to Steve today to pick him up and come, and he's had a lot of health problems since he retired. But if you ever see Steve Towery, friend him or call him, he's the one that was a caretaker for the last 20 years. In 2009, my daughter asked me if I ever heard of Facebook. So, Dad, it's a new platform, and I think it would help you to advance this Idaho Historical Racing Society. So she set the page up, and she showed me how to scan pictures, and that's my thing. And I love doing that. I'm thinking most of you follow the page. We just went over 8,000 people the other day, 19 different countries. One of our biggest fans is in North Carolina. He became a member. But so if you happen to have any vintage pictures that you'd like me to post on there, get a hold of me. You can scan them, send them to me as attachments. My email is on the page. For some reason, it's stanfuller13@gmail.com. So I was born on the 13th. That was my dad's lucky number. All my kids and grandkids in their sporting events, they put 13 on their uniform because no one else wants to be number 13. But that's a lucky number in our family. So this is our first general membership meeting. Like Joe said, we became a nonprofit. Your donations helped us buy that trailer. Alan Marsh gave us a good deal on it. We got the beautiful wrap on it. But we're here to talk about the future. But thank you for attending this first general membership meeting, and there'll be more to come. Thank you.
Turn up the volume. Turn up the volume and wait for the loud mouth at the end.
All right. The two of us anyway. I'll get it warmed up for you.
Okay.
I'm TC Ellis, treasurer of the group here. Got involved with, when the group was doing the move from the Print Craft. Some of us are old wire people from the Western Idaho Racing Association. I got called in by Todd Lebrani himself and said, the group is reaching out, wanting some help to keep this thing going and keep it alive. And since Printcraft is moving, selling out and retiring. And so Todd had taken the time to go down and meet up with the guys, loaded everything up in his enclosed trailer and put it into storage. And so then it began, okay, now what are you going to do? And so Todd kind of triggered to get everything going, speaking with the guys from Idaho Historical Racing Society, along with the guys from WIRA, pulled some of us in. We had a meeting, I think it was a year ago, March, if I'm not mistaken. We discussed, everything that we could offer to help out. Some was more experience, and helping them to get the nonprofit status and the status as far as a nonprofit. So that's the beginning. We're all excited about it. We had the same idea. A lot of this stemmed from Dan Breach. A lot of you remember, Dan had really wanted to keep this all going as far as the history of the speedways and the racing around the valleys and stuff like that, but also the Hall of Fame. That was one of his pets, and along with everything else. So we discussed it. We came in, said we'll go under the banner of Idaho Historical Racing Society since WIRA is no longer. we brought in, we're still doing the Hall of Fame, as you guys know. And so but it's now just the Western Idaho Racing Hall of Fame, no association to it now. And so it's active, along with the Idaho Historical's Humanitarian Award, which there's usually a recipient on that, but usually the board is the one that kind of vote on that. But on the Hall of Fame, you as a member get to nominate and put people in, which we've got people here that have put in some nominations for people that they would like to see in the Hall of Fame. So we'll be working on that, and soon Brent's going to explain that a little bit more here after me. So anyway, so I don't take too much of the information and stuff like that, but being the treasurer stuff, I've been trying to handle the money as much as possible and stuff. And of course, a lot of the funds we get is through our memberships and our Checkered Flag Club. And one of our bigger givers is here tonight, and Mike Anderson, that came in and joined on the Checkered Flag Club and was the second biggest donator to help us out. We appreciate that, Mike, and for what you've done to help us out on this. But anyway, I wanted to kind of explain that, kind of give you some financials so you guys have an idea of where we've been. We were kind of a little slack on getting these meetings together so you guys can keep up with, what we're doing, and so you understand, where we're at, because you, as a member, you have the right to know these things. But we started out when we did this thing back in March and everything else. It was a $500 deal. It got kiboshed and taken back. So at the time we were sitting with $0 going in when we started. Todd Lebrani stepped right in with a $200 donation to start an account, and so that was our first initial amount of money. Then it just started going from there. Stan put some money in, Spanky put some money in, and it just started growing from that point on. So then when we started really, coming up with ideas how to generate the funds, that was, of course, the memberships and then Checkered Flag Club to get on the board there. And so that is where we started generating all of our monies. And at the point that we got up to last fall, we got up to a point of we had $16,500 in the pot, and we were able to go buy the trailer, of course, so that was one of our first goals, was get the trailer, get somewhere we can put all the memorabilia into and store it, but also display it. And it worked out perfect where this trailer was an old lottery trailer, and that they sold. So anyway, Alan Marsh was the one that had it. He bought it through an auction and worked a deal with us. We went down, cashed it out, and bought it from him for $11,000. So anyway, that was our first initial big expenditure. So from that point, we spent $3,900 to wrap it and have it all done by Wrap World down in Shinden. They came in with the best deal that we could find. Some of the expenditures that we had this past year was $1,250 that was going out for insurance for the trailer itself to cover the material, but the trailer itself and the liabilities. And then we did go ahead and purchase a brand new laptop, so that way we can kind of put things on that and use it for different reasons other than my own that we've been using most of the time. Anyway, then the latest expenditure we had was we spent about $1,800 for these T-shirts and the hats that we've got, and selling those. The hope is that we can sell everything we got and come out with a profit at the end. We were a little scared to death, because we have done this back in the day with Wyra, and we've had good days and we've had bad days. And I think if you've ever been in the T-shirt or hat business, selling for your racing team or whatever, you probably understand where we're a little nervous. But anyway, Steve York at Threads down in Twin Falls came out with the best deal for us and put these together for us and these hats. And so anyway, we spent the $1,800 for the shirt and hats. And anyway, at the end, if we get 100% sales and everything else, we should almost double our money. So that'll be profit to go back into the pot for the for the group. Other expenditures we've come up with is we do have a program called Zip Books. Some of you that you'll see an invoice come in and show up paid. Basically, that's the Zip Books. I put everything inside, into that, and it sends you out your receipt or your invoice, and so you guys can have that. But also keeps control of it, kind of like QuickBooks, but a lot cheaper price. Runs us about $15 a month, and so that's what we bought, spend on that on a monthly basis. Other expenditures, we did buy a bunch of brochures and some of these cards, that we put together right before the Boise Roadster Show. We did have the trailer on display for anybody that saw us down there, which was kind of cool because we got a lot of attention with a lot of people that came and talked to us about it. From everything from drag racers to boat racers to motorcycle to our oval racing, and it was just all forms of racing that came over and talked to us, and we did get some memberships out of it, and so it was kind of a good deal, but a lot of good exposure. But we did spend the money, and the news did give us a decent deal on half the price for our spot. So we appreciate that it gave us that opportunity to have what we got, and Don put his car down there to display also at no charge. I think I mentioned we do have state of Idaho. We have to register with on a yearly basis, and that's for the nonprofit basically, and that's usually close to about $35 to $50 a year. Not a big deal, but we have to do it. That's why we got in trouble in the first place, or they hadn't registered with the old regime that was running it back in the day, and let it lapse and got them in trouble. So we'll definitely keep this one alive and active so we don't get into that problem. Other expenditures, we've bought trailer parts. We've put a new electric jack on the front, especially for us old parts that are getting tired of cranking. So anyway, we got that on there. We put some new struts on the windows because some were weak and they were falling or slacking. So anyway, those got replaced. Just to kind of give you some ideas where a lot of these funds are going. Right now, we're just kind of backing up our money at this point now to work on the interior. We've been lucky. Bob Bachman is one of our board members from Bachman Homes, Custom Homes. Bob has been and his crew have been the ones helping us on getting a lot of this work done. Of course, they're super busy right now with their homes, so he hasn't had a lot of time for us. But hopefully this fall, knock on wood, we'll be working on the interior of the trailer and make more available storage cabinets. What we're looking forward to put in there for the albums to put them away and store them. So anyway, that's kind of where some of the funds have gone. Other than that, we've had several funerals this past year. A lot of you know that we taken a lot of those people that have been quite involved with the racing program around us, and we felt that we wanted to contribute something to go towards that. In a lot of cases, we went ahead and bought flowers. We kind of tried to budget it to $100 per person. Some of it went a little higher because of delivery charges and some of those things. So, but we kept it right around $100. And unfortunately, this year we had several, and but we didn't do just trees at all. I mean, flowers. We did have one situation where we bought in on trees, and what it is they go and plant trees in the memory of them at like an area that's been burned, and they're replanting, which is kind of a cool deal, when you think about it, and it's something that's going to go forever compared to a vase of flowers. So we're pretty tickled about that one, and so we did that for a couple people, and then we did a cash donation for the Meniger family for Pat, their mom, and that went to the Napa Christian School down here, and we just gave the funds to them to put it towards the school for their Coal Valley, excuse me. Thank you, Mike. I'm glad you're here. I get Napa. I don't know. Anyway, sorry about that, but yeah, Coal Valley, and you're welcome. they were pretty tickled about that and surprised. And I think the managers have a lot of the kids, grandkids there, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So anyway, that's where we took those funds. So that's kind of where some of these monies have been going, and we just kind of wanted to give you guys an idea of where we sit on that. Anyway, we had a board meeting prior to this and stuff, and anyway, we had we're still sitting with about $6,600 right now in our account. Like I said, some of those funds are going to be going back into the interior of the trailer and getting that fixed up, and I hope we don't have any more funerals. But anyway, that'll be our normal expenditures. If there's any questions, please, feel free to ask now. You guys have the option to raise your hand, and we'll acknowledge if you have questions about any of this stuff. If not, I'm going to go sit down and turn it over to Brent Darty. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, TC. Just to kind of wrap it up what Joe and these guys have been talking about. The IHRS, like they said, when Joe was racing and a few of us were pretending to be a race car driver, we got together. Stan and Steve were huge. Yes, getting it started. So if you run by Steve or Stan, we had a couple of guys that raced here that were in the military, Brian Latta and John Leon. They were at Joe's house 24 years ago in the living room, just trying to figure it out, see what we could do. So and Steve and Stan ran with it. They took it. They did an amazing job. They honored some people at the same time throughout the years. Some of them are in this room. And really kind of for all of us Wyra guys, and a lot of you have been, more involved than I was in my day. But with that going away, before Dan got sick, Dan and I sat at this table right here, and it was, you need to call Todd, you need to call Spank, you need to call Mike, you need to call all these guys, because if there's a day I'm not sitting here, this Hall of Fame has to go on. So a couple of years ago, reached out to TC after we lost Dan, TC and Todd and Spanky, and we came in here, and how do we do it? How do you have Wyra when we don't have a Wyra? How do you have a Hall of Fame when we don't have that organization? Joe and I have been friends all of our lives. The IHRS, so the merge came, and that keeps us as a group, like TC was explaining. But it also gives the members and the people an opportunity to stay involved, because as we look around this room, a lot of us been a part of it, but there's also new generations that don't know who half of us are. But we want to make sure those people are remembered and honored. So as a member, it's a $25 membership a year. It helps, like TC was saying, the memorials, the trailer. The main goal is someday for all of us to have, a building like this. Be perfect, a building like this on this property, to where we could volunteer and people could come in and see Stan stuff and the Vinegar stuff and the Lebrani stuff, and even these kids and young people that are racing now, because it doesn't take long till you're old. Like Joe and I did this 25 years ago. We were in our 20s, so we thought we're going to help these guys out. Now here we are trying to pass it on to our kids and grandkids. So your membership helps a lot with that. The benefit, back in the Wyra days, there was sponsors and discounts, and we're not at that point yet. The one benefit is for you guys to help us keep the Hall of Fame going. That gives you an opportunity to nominate. On the website, there's a criteria, a biography. Instead of just saying we want Spanky, we want to know why. Write a letter. I know we've gotten a couple from some folks in here, and then we'll go through the list. And just like the old days, Dan always mailed letters out to the other members and stuff. I think it's a new era. It's just a different time. So if in order to nominate, you got to be a member. So that's where we're trying to kind of get you guys involved with that too. What do we need other than membership? We need help. More than anything, we need volunteers. Pink Lady Classic weekend, we have a 50-50 raffle. Bill and I and Todd, everybody gets here. We did one in the pits, and then those of us that work here, we go to work, and everybody else just runs the one up front. It was profitable last year.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Yeah.
but it takes an army to do it because as you look around, Spanky works at the racetrack, Bill works at the racetrack, I work at the racetrack, you know, so it all of a sudden is falling on the guys that aren't. So we definitely need help. The trailer, it's good to have somebody in that trailer to be selling some shirts, selling some hats, talking about the history. So we need some volunteers and some help on that on race nights. I know we're going to pull it down to Magic Valley for the Magic Valley Speedway Hall of Fame night, at Motorsports Hall of Fame night. They're having a big Northwest Super Late Model race. We're going to tow it down there. Same thing. I'll tow it. Spanky's got to work. I got to work. You know, so it'd be nice to have some people to volunteer, take care of getting you in, and just spreading the word. So at that, you know, at this point, you know, those are your membership benefits, and I think we all want to make it grow. It's just right now we've got to start with that, right? For those of you that are members, July 31st is coming up. That's the deadline to nominate for the 2025 Western Idaho Racing Hall of Fame. So if you have somebody in mind, you're going to need to get it to one of our board members in writing prior to the end of this month. And then we'll be pushing towards that Pink Lady Classic weekend for some announcements.
Could submit it online too.
You can submit it online to QR code or just straight to the website.
It goes straight to my email.
Okay. So all different ways you can do that for the people, you know, the people that you think need to be recognized. Like TC said, we'll have some general membership meetings coming up. New board is going to take over in November. If you're interested, you know, and you're a member, we definitely, you know, I think new blood or different ideas is awesome. So as we get into that September nomination time, October voting, and November, we'll put a new or a different board or different people in different positions. So that's something to look forward to. And then activities, you know, we did a Daytona 500 party, which was pretty successful.
Yep.
We've done the 50-50 raffles, helps with the money. The racetrack is very kind to let us use this building that they would normally rent out for a deal like this. But these activities, we want to keep them going. So if you have an idea, I know we've had all the wire stuff that we've done in the past, and if you guys have ideas or want to help, or just get with one of us. I mean, we're all at the racetrack. Like Bill said, the emails, the Facebook page, all of that. I think any of us would be willing to sit and take some ideas and then try to put those, especially in the winter months when we're not racing. We might as well be making a little money for the organization at that point. So, yeah, we're having some fun. The Daytona party went, you know, we've tried it in the past. Dan and I tried it. Wyra tried it. And this one went really great. So, you know, just kind of spread the word, hang out with us. I think it even rained and we all just sat here for like 3 extra hours. So, yeah, played some cards.
Yep.
So Todd was in charge of the gambling of the cards, right? Lost a lot of money. But that's what we need, because there's like 5 or 6 of us that are here every month trying to figure it out. And you guys all have ideas that we probably would never think of. And some of our ideas you would probably tell us to stop thinking about. So we need your help with that stuff. T-shirts and hats. You see he's got one above his head there. If you are interested, we just so happen to have brought a bunch of totes of T-shirts and hats in here. So if you guys want to take, you know, be a part of that, that's awesome. I think the biggest part, spread the word, right? I mean, we're trying to stream it. We're trying to do it at the racetracks. We're going to be down at Twin Falls. Just let people know. It's kind of a Wyra. It's an IHRS. It's the merge of everything that can kind of keep this community together. And that. I think that's everything else to see. Did maybe I skipped?
Can't think of anything right off the top of my head.
Yes.
I'd like to thank personally everybody in the room that is a part of the Checkered Flag Club. Your help has been huge, and we are working on trying to get the board updated. There's a few more people that have donated, and we haven't been able to get the vinyl up. So trust me, we're working on that. But the help that you all have given us, the generosity has been huge. We had one other person that was a silent partner that gave us a ton of money, and was those of you who did that allowed this to happen. And like Brent said, the long-term goal, hopefully someday, is to have an actual fix and bricks building. But, that's a dream that we have. If we'll ever get to that, I don't know. If I win the lottery, if I win the lottery. But the point is, I just really wanted to make sure that every one of you who have joined the Checker Flag Club, whether it's gold, bronze, silver, you know, come up with $25 here or there quietly. We appreciate it very much. Upcoming projects, we're gonna need ideas for things that we can do to keep this thing rolling. Some of the things have been bannered around. We want to scan in all the pictures that we have eventually. It's been something we've been working towards. We haven't got there yet, but get all the pictures in, file them correctly so that if Mike Anderson says, hey, I want every have a picture of, we can end in a flash drive and all that for a fee, you know, $10, whatever it is. Adam has brought up, we got the plaque last year for the historical register, right? It'd be really cool to have a place for that, like a little, like a landmark or something, maybe at the triangle when you come in next to the park and the Dairy Association land right there. Or we could put that, maybe have bricks with people's names on it, the founders, maybe an etched piece from the monument people down the street on Franklin that can, you know, make a picture of the water tower, some checker flags, that kind of deal. So there's projects that are going to be coming, and when you have these projects, that's the time that we'll need more money. You know, so we'll hit you up for the Checker Flag Club kind of thing. The Checker Flag Club, that's the trailer emeritus, that's never going away, but we're going to have other projects coming down the road. We'll get there, but we need really what we need. Think on, hey, an hour a month helps us out tremendously. So if you can volunteer some time and sit in the trailer and take a little bit off, we've got a sign up sheet for the trailer right here. We do ask that you are a member. It's got a key that's in a lockbox with a code, easy to get in and out of, sell stuff, do stuff for us. But it really will help us out. I mean, Gary and myself and the guys that work, they're there until they go to 4 o'clock for race start. They got things to do, and then we come in and, you know, we help out. But we really need more people. There's things to make what we want to do happen. We need a solid 30 people to do things instead of 6, 7. We need a solid 30. So anything you can do would be great, because someday they're going to want to tear all this down, and people are going to forget about what we've done. But we're not going to let that happen on our watch.
Stan, have you, think
I mean, that's when we were at the Boise Roadster show, you know, we talked to Brad a little bit about things, and, you know, and he showed a lot of interest in what we were doing. And then of course, people that came and had talked to us, you know, there were, you know, in the active, drag racing. And I've seen Stan has come up with some stuff, and we've been posting it on there also. So we're trying to weasel in, I guess, if you want to call it that, you know, to show that, hey, we're supporting you guys too a little bit, and try to bring them in. Oh yeah.
Always the same.
So many really great cards.
I think that's one of our things. If we get people, you know, we get a trailer out there, and if we've got some members to watch it, you know, to inform people about what it is. Same as like what we're doing in Twin, you know, it's like we get the trailer down there, different racetrack, different venue, different eyes. But yeah, I don't think that's a bad thing. That's why we want to get those members in, because then Spank or Todd or TC or I, we drop it out on that Friday night, come pick it up Sunday when the races are over, and yeah. So,
I went to the oldies. Oh. That the grandstands were. Yeah, well, I know race it's a market.
Night fire. Night fire is in August and.
That's fine.
But yeah, I think, I mean, that's, yeah. Like I said, as we started, I think the big thing was interest, and I think there's interest now, especially after being at the Roadster Show, you know,
Yeah, maybe that Halloween would be something that we could really work towards. A lot of the pickle track stuff is done by then.
quiet.
And that would give us an opportunity. So that would be something that we could really work towards. And I agree. I think that would be a great idea. Get it out there. And I know we have a good relationship with the news from the Roadster Show. They were super helpful in helping us get in there. They were very accommodating to us and helped us out a bunch. So that
That's
would be
how we. Bought that to the trailer. That's far. When it-
Perfect.
Where- No, that.
It's definitely something that's being built, you know, because like I said, we're limited on some of these photos, like the drag racing and so we're trying to reach out, you know, past the oval type tracks that we've been really dealing with a lot, but getting into, you know, to these people, you know, like with Firebird or Thunder Ridge or even a, you know, an Idaho track of some sort.
there associated drag racers that they like this or they're all just
Yeah.
I just was wondering if there was, or you know, we get in front of some of those what we are, who we are.
Well, like,
We can start collecting some photos for them.
fine, there's a lot of. Overjoyed to be able to showcase.
Go out there and make.
Yeah. But yeah, it's something we're building on.
But yeah, but no, it's definitely good to hear that's where you guys found us, because that was when we were on the site.
Club Friday and stuff they do out there.
Well, like that's it.
Oh.
On Friday night.
Definitely think we need to reach out to the news, see if we can get a time where we can take it out there. See if they would be willing. I'm sure they would be. Sure they would be willing to let us do that.
Yeah.
And just put that on our list.
Spot.
I want to bring it up too, that, we were talking about Adam Nelson. I really think, you know, I want to really bring it out in front of everybody too, that, you know, I really appreciate what Kelly and Adam have been doing for us as this group, you know, to allow us that parking spot back there year round and then using the facility and even for our functions and, you know, so I really want to kind of get that out there, you know, that we, need to, you know, show more appreciation to them and those guys. And then, and also too, Mr. Miniger over there, you know, I want to give him a little insight, you know, because he's one of our checker flag club guys that just signed up with us. And then his brother Pat was a member too. So we appreciate the Minigers for helping. And both are Hall of Famers. So yeah, we appreciate their backing of us and helping us out. Yeah.
Live enough to mention.
Oh, good old days.
Yeah.
Where is the trailer for the second flag?
So the trailer, normally it's parked right as you come in the pit gate at the speedway,
It's a,
right here. Yeah, where you get your pit.
guys want members, you want people to see it, you put it where the people coming in. That gate. Some
Yeah.
Kind of crowd here that we've tried.
You can put the spot right now, where there's nobody, this side, stop. That, right there where that taco truck is. Park it right there, it's crowd coming.
The taco guy pays, we can't hit it.
You do it on the other side of the gate.
Right,
And you will see people come in and they'll go, what's this? What's this?
right.
Yeah.
That's where you get your numbers. That's where you get your sales. That's where you get it. Half of them don't come to the tip.
Right.
Only about half of your group. The rest of them are already dead now.
Yeah.
Like,
The way it's worked for us is, where we're located now is, definitely we work a lot with the people going into the pit area, of course, and the drivers. And then we make sure we keep it open after the races and people coming out. And so we get them, but obviously, I mean, there's a ton of people that don't come out to the party out there. So, but yeah, it's been talked about. It's just a matter of working us.
Right.
take a little shit and put out there. On wheels.
So if anybody wants to buy a shed on wheels. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I think really and I'll speak for myself, I think when we started it, kind of you got to get the core, the pits were the people, it was the Minigers, it was the Palmers, it was the people that have been around this racetrack all of our lives. And then we branched out to the car show and yeah, and it'd be great to be in the, in the Midway area or something out here. It is a limited, because if you want to be out here for a big show, it's just a lot of people. So then we try to force them to come back and see us. But yeah, no, those options are always, and I guess we grow and then we can work with Adam and Kelly and find the right dates.
But there's the state.
Yeah.
Help them.
No, that's a good idea. Yep. President is taking that note right now. I see it.
Oh, my.
New member just lately. I got her name, Joe. We got it.
We got it right here.
I have a piece of paper with her signature on it. I saw that.
But she didn't read the fine print. We're okay.
But yeah, and I think all that stuff, whether it's an idea like that or an idea like Firebird or parking it in one of your yards at a yard sale, whatever, whatever it is, I think that's what we want. We just need the fresh new ideas.
Always open.
Okay. It's gonna be a historical party.
It'll get a lot of attention for a little while.
But I think the biggest thing that I can ask as the vice president is just spread the word for us. Tell them what we're doing. We can get back to those days when all of us would go to the pizza place and hang out, and talk about race cars and rules. And not that it matters now, but it definitely keeps us all involved. And like TC said, Adam and Kelly have been very gracious to let us kind of do what we want when we need to. And you just can't do that stuff without the people that are.
The old days, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why the beer's still flowing when we're done here. Join the crowd.
Yeah.
Let's not count marriages. Let's move on to the next.
Yeah. They're bad subject.
I think, really for me though, you guys, it doesn't matter if it's Darren that's been out here for decades just saving people, or the drivers or the grandparents, myself watching Mike and being able to do something that I always wanted to do and learning from him as a new announcer. It doesn't matter what we do here. It's all part of the family. But you're running the show like Spank is at Magic Valley. Todd's been a promoter of the touring series, or it's just down to just the guys that just want to come in and hang out with us. It's kind of a group thing.
Can you bring up Hall of Fame? We actually have a banquet where we.
Yes, that was my So last year, and a lot of you might not have known, but last year we with our induction, we used to do them obviously, in the days when we would all go to the banquet, when the Speedway could do a big one, when we could afford to do a big one, and the Hall of Fame was a huge part of that. It's just not right now. Brent and Adam are working on it. We're trying to get the bigger banquets. We attempted it last year, and I think we're headed in the right direction, but those things are tens of thousands of dollars now instead of thousands of dollars like they were in the 90s and early 2000s. So last year, Tate Elquist, who is the driver here at the track, him and his wife own Lakeside Barn. It's a wedding venue out off Lakeshore Drive. Another person that we have to thank. We wanted to do a banquet. We didn't, we kind of did an informal induction out here. But I think a lot of us, myself included, and I think all of these guys, it's a moment. It's kind of cool. And you want your wife or your family or your kids to see that. So last November, we did a actual induction. Yeah. We did 4 guys. Todd was one of our inductees. We were Porch Jr., Jeff and Bruce, Joe, and we've also combined it with the Idaho Historical Racing Society Humanitarian Award, Joe, Stan, and the Meridian Historical Commission, who actually Dan Breach and I used to sit out years ago behind that in the pits after the race, wondering how to get this place on the historical site. And we all talked about it a year ago, and then all of a sudden, Channel 7 said it was done, so we didn't even have to do anything. So we put them on that humanitarian Hall of Fame as well. So, but Tate and his wife were kind enough to give us that venue. I think it was perfect. Doesn't mean that's what we have to do this year. It's another idea. If you guys have a place, I mean, we would love to do it with the racetrack. We would love to put all these people in the Hall of Fame right after the sprint car champion. But unfortunately, just with the times and size of what we need, I think we'll probably point in the direction of trying to do one on our own again this year. If you guys know a venue, I'm sure Tate, those guys are more than happy to have us back. But those kind of things, because then it's a moment. It's a moment that the families can come. We were able to reach out to Randy Tolsma last year. Definitely a big part of the history of racing. Randy, I called him one night, and he's like, "When is it?" Called me the next morning, said, "I've got a plane. I'll be there that morning." So, got plane ticket. he said Millinger helped me buy a jet. I don't know. Yeah. But I mean, just those guys that can come, because it's not only us in this room. There are people that have done a lot for racing around the nation. That
those are the moments you can get, like the man did a speech for pretty much nobody talked. Nobody looked at their phone. Everybody walked. Yeah, whole script. His life opened up.
Oh yeah, amazing.
So we can't get that. Or you can't get that. No offense, you can't get that in here, really. That was a dinner set up. Do that over there. Program. It's the only way that really induction. Right?
Yeah.
No more chili beans and
right.
Hamilton used to want us to have our banks in the tent out. Chicken fried chicken today. Not doing that.
Yeah.
It's more important than ever.
Yeah. I mean, I think we go hand in hand with the track, but I almost think last year was kind of nice to separate it. The Western Idaho Racing Hall of Fame induction. And then a month later, we all did the 2 big banquets for the Speedway so we could honor the drivers and that sort of thing. So yeah, but again, it takes out setting up tables, tearing down tables, hauling in pop, hauling out pop, and then it takes a little money to buy the pop and buy the food. And Todd and his wife with Walking Sombrero, that dang taco truck out here, they served us the food. So any of that stuff, and, if you know a vendor that could help us with some food, some catering, whatever. But it's kind of nice to have that in November, right when racing's over, before we get involved with having to go to Twin to do that banquet and a couple of banquets that we do for the drivers here. So Facebook, the website, probably the best ways to keep in touch. Stan is full-time IHRS Facebook poster. All that stuff is courtesy of him being able to do that. So as we get these events, we'll yeah, ANTC are
A little bit.
very small part.
How many were? Okay,
Say that again, I'm sorry.
how many were at the event?
At the banquet. So I think the banquet, the venue that Tate gave us held 100 and
Did that people show up?
yes, 110. Yeah, we printed 120 tickets. I think we sold like 110. Then pretty close. We could have put probably 5 or 6 more tables in the back. But it was the first one. It was kind of nice to not be 1,000,000% overwhelmed. But
Yeah.
but that venue is like 150 if we're scrunched. So if, and we hope it's bigger, that's where we need help with another place to do it.
I didn't know you had to continue to put 4 people at a time.
No.
People.
Yeah. So the reason we kind of decided, and Dan and I talked, I know we've all talked because we always had that 2. And when Dan and I sat in here one day, it's like, well, there's 2, but then we had that long list of people that weren't in yet. So I think we were going to do 1 year. Yeah.
I mean, that's makes it much more important.
More special.
So I just my opinion doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
it's very fun.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, plenty of time about it, but-
Yeah. No.
Because the Oak was, it
Donated that.
was what, 50 bucks plate? So $25 ticket, we were still making $10, just like, with pop and everything that we provided and that kind of stuff, they had our kind of. If we had to pay for a venue, it would.
That was a $3,500 venue. Yeah, that was the $3,500 pay. That was Western Idaho Racing discount, and then the bill said 0. So, but normally something like that for 100 people, Tate said it's a $3,500 bill.
Minimum.
So if somebody throws out, hey, we need to rent out, the Riverside or something like that. Riverside is what, $5 grand even think about? $10 grand to go.
$10,000. We tried to get it for the racing group just a few weeks, and that was before food and all the stuff that we'd have. It's gonna be like $70 a ticket last time Brent Dan and I got it. You can't do that. Yeah.
I was freaking.
We're all just listening.
Yeah.
To expand on what I said, I understand, I agree it's to a large degree that, with one person, it makes it really very special. Problem I think we've run into is we're all getting older. The goal is trying to put people in when they're above ground instead of waiting until they're below ground. There are a bunch of people who deserve to be in this Hall of Fame. Well, there are a ton of people that deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. And so putting in 4 was probably a little bit too much last year. But I'm going to be honest with you, the group that we put in last year, every single one of those people should have been in a long time ago. I mean, every single one of those people should have been in a long time ago. So you run the risk of, if we only put one person in at a time, we're going to end up having a whole bunch of people that don't get in until after they're gone. And that's still great. We're still recognizing those people. But I really think it's important to recognize those people while they're here so that they can enjoy that moment. And it's a huge moment for them. The other thing, like Mike said, hey, you know what? Let's just have some soda pops and beer and call it a party. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with having a informal get together and doing stuff like that. But I'm going to tell you something. That really was huge. Having a place where we went and we got some tacos, taco truck. Really, but you know what? It felt like, I'll be honest, I thought it was one of the best banquets I went to. I would put it up against anything we ever did at the Riverside. It was awesome. It was fun. It was a group of people that were all there for one reason We all had some cakes that we donated, you know, we all kicked in and bought soda pop and bought cakes and did all that stuff as a group so that we could keep the price down. We didn't want to bang you guys for a big, you know, big ticket price. And we was able to put together something that I thought was really awesome. And I hope that we can continue to keep doing that. That's my.
It's a beautiful place. The venue was, it felt homey. It just felt like a place
So I guess to add real quick, I think probably putting 2 people in a year is probably the right number. And if you have that occasional third or fourth, where it's obvious that that person deserves to be in, there's a tie vote or it's something like that. And you know what? Then you could put 3 in. But I think putting 4 in every single year is probably a little bit too much. Probably 2 would be better. It's a good standard, but
Standards. It's been 1, but 2.
at some point, so I think are sometimes have been lowered there because the original intent, 1980, was different than probably what it is. So we put some in just because they died. I remember, no, I'm serious. Paul and said, "Why didn't you do that?" Rally event. Wait, go in the hall and I was thinking of one. There was more than just one. But I'm an old guy, I've been around here a long time. So guys like Dylan and no doubt guys like that need to be kind of so it's just my opinion. I think the standard needs to be held high. You may find that if standards are high, you need to put 4 in a year. I think that's the plan.
No, that makes sense.
And by looking at the list, I could probably go down and go, yeah, I don't know about that. My brother's somebody.
Right.
Really.
Yeah. I think that's what, like, when we talk, like, you know, like now, instead of just, hey, Spanky needs to go in, you know, because that's what's happening. Now, the nice thing is with the biographies and stuff, then we get to read through them and then we can share it with the board and be like, you know, oh, I didn't know this guy had that high of a bar, or we didn't know this guy really didn't do anything.
Well,
It was him.
It started out to be the wire rugby.
Right.
And there was also a lot of people that are in it that were always trying to break wire apart. But right now on the list, if I want to, but I can go out and tell you who, like, Spanky started messaging.
That's why I'll never make it.
Good man. Destroyed race.
But yeah, I mean, stuff like that. I mean, that's the stuff. I mean, yeah, a lot of it, but the next generation, the people that are here after Todd and me and Spank and that are trying to keep this going, that's the stuff they need to realize and know is like, you know, we need to find a real reason. And is that reason, you know, the nice thing we have now is we also have the IHRS Humanitarian Hall of Fame. So sometimes you're like, well, it wasn't really the racing stuff, but like our Meridian Historical Commission. They did something none of us either had the time, money, or ability to do. Not maybe a Western Idaho Racing Hall of Fame thing, but we couldn't be, you know, the racetrack couldn't be where it is without people like that too. So
I know, in my several times, right, and below. Right, wasn't gonna. There, you know, what's to say, but let's join the thing together so that we have something. Wherever we be at that. Some kind of right, we're helping each other. We're all racing, we're all here. See the fenders not. So when I see open wheel racers that are on it, I go, ah,
for that guy.
that's right. Oh, didn't. That's.
Yeah.
Honorary. Somebody doing something in that past is always Another group is called Common. That means that they're in from Common. But still getting recognized. Not.
Very
I
true.
was an honorary woman and nominated.
So yeah, did you have something, Dan, or no? So yeah, I think good. Joe? Okay. But I think the big thing is when we have these meetings, just bring somebody else, bring somebody with you so that we can grow it and, you know,
Bringing my grandson.
see, where's he at?
Well, I did feel
But you're here.
Sign up for certain. Something.
Yep. Right now what we've got is for like the trailer, for helping us man the trailer.
Right.
As we get closer to the 50-50 raffle, we'll, you know, so I think as our activities come up, but I don't know that it wouldn't be a bad idea just to have a list of people that are like,
Find something up that week.
Yeah.
And that way you have it.
definitely.
Yeah, the only thing I brought tonight was, the one for the trailer, because we had a lot of open spots going into the fourth and so anyway, we were talking about that at our board meeting prior to, but yeah, if you're thinking about the trailer itself, you know, then I've got that board with me. Otherwise, we get contact and correct. Yeah, yes, and that's yeah. Yeah. Yes, it is.
25. Yes. 25.
25.
25. 26. An option. 27. 27. Excellent.
I'm going 24.
Oh.
Speedway.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, really, on behalf of not only those of us that are doing this deal, but I think the guys and the ladies that came way before us. And you look around this room, there's a ton more people that think we'd all love to see show up. And even if you don't have the time or you don't have the money, it's just come in and have a beer with us and hang out. Like I said, Adam and Brent and Colton. Me. Lucky not. Lucky not. Okay.
One more quick question.
Yep.
From the room, is this something you guys want to have? You want to have this ability to have this at all of our meetings? Yeah. I mean, it's something that we have, this is our first time doing it, but if it's met, if received well and everything, then I think we'll continue to keep doing it if that's what the group wants. A very transparent board. We let you see everything that's carried with through every financial thing. There's nothing hidden. Back in the wire days, we had wire meetings that were just for the wire board because there was some stuff that went down that not everybody needed to know about, right, Mike? First correction. But, you know, general meetings like this, that's what we should be doing more. But we still have to have our board stuff. That's a couple like Ms. Marston and Mr. Anderson and some others were here earlier. Trying to get people to go. Good job. Yeah. I was trying to get people to go. My brother. Several talks about society today. What society, the young people today don't want clubs. They don't need anything. So what you see here, the gray haired people, and that's probably what was going to work for you. You're not going to drag a 25-year-old in here and keep his attention. So the Ihrs, in fact, it should say down in the trailer, the old Ihrs club, because anyone that's going to be the kids' age, you know, our kids, like my kid's been done it for almost 10 years, and he built kind of a legacy of a dominant. But if I said, David, you wanna go hang out with the Ihrs tonight? He might. You know what I'm saying? This is a rough thing that have, I love me. I have trouble with me. I do, I love me. What do you mean? Yeah. I'm anxious for this to get done so the bullshit can start.
Bars open. 9 manager wants the bullshit to start, so I think we're good.
What's it? What's fine?
So how high can your money go?
Checker flag club. 1,000. Silver gold is 1,000 plus.
No, the state gives you a license
Oh,
to do selling. They call that. Just said it.
the FD 101, and then wait.
When you do volunteer and stuff like that, and go. Days of Idaho will be 15 cents.
Yeah.
And we couldn't go over. We had to. Come on, somebody with a car. Morning. So it's not for you.
Yeah.
They will allow it.
Yeah, unless things have really changed a lot. I mean, I've talked to the state of Idaho several times about, getting this all started and everything. And then we had a issue going on about, the, who'd represent, the
Has to have a president, vice president.
bylaws. Yeah.
Of the bylaws.
Yeah. I mean, that's the first thing we've had to build.
We talked about mom there.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. There's been a lot of different things that have come through, people have talked about and told us and, and I've usually gone back to the state and talked to them about it, just to verify it. And, all the years I was with Wyra and stuff like that, we just, that's kind of how we're doing this, We never had any issues.
All right, as long as you have this, it's great.
Yeah.
And the limits. So if you got a limit.
Yeah. I'll look into it. I mean, numbers we've been talking about and everything else that we didn't have anything to worry about, but
They have. So that's good.
yeah.
I've already got to do that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I had 400 people. I had.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And I had it all.
Yeah. They back in the day they were talking about, with the where the board would change every year, depending on who got voted in. Sometimes it'd be a whole new officer. And so, there was always a concern about the funds, what.
Cannot change any fund.
No, they're locked in.
Because, yeah, well, they tried to do that. Because they died.
Oh my God, with the state of Idaho. Yeah. No, we sat down. In fact, we kind of initially Dan Breach was helping them out and everything, and they kind of used the bylaw that Wyra had, and they kind of did a little quick tweak on it. And of course, it was turned over to me, and I started going through it, and it was like, wait a minute, no, this did not make any sense. Here and there. So, I talked to the board, and I said, if you allow me to, I'll go back through it. See if I can fix everything, and we'll discuss it.
Make
There you
sure.
go. Yeah.
And so. Whenever I'm there.
Yeah. Yeah. No, we went through and I know. No. Yeah. No, they.
I went to buy a shirt.
Oh, shirts and hats?
Yeah. I want to run some. Okay, do you have a large?
Membership? Yeah. But you gotta have one, don't you?
Yeah, I need one.
You stole mine.
A lot of the stuff like I said, on the phone. Like, I think we need to get a scanner or something.
You wanna sit over here? I'll give you a pen and
Looking around.
turn you loose on that. Pretty basic.
What do you mean stand in? They're already digital.
Can stop our video now, huh?
Oh, yeah.